I will still say that the RS is such an impressive car. Because on the back straight, if you're talking about performance, you were at 200, you were crossing 200 halfway down the straight. Then you start climbing and then the braking zone. So it has plenty of performance if you were looking for that. If you were expecting it to be a sharpish kind of car, the front end actually does work quite well. I kept going back to driving the car and thinking, this is turning in better than I expected. This is turning in better than I expected. And in my head, I think I was going on doing that GTI versus RS thing.
Right.
So the GTI is smaller, lighter, sharper, all of that. But the RS was still like, for the kind of car it is, how well it can hold the front, right? So it's like you're throwing it into a corner to make it go into understeer. I had to be doing one thing wrong at least, which is like, let's say I've turned in too early, or turned in too hard and then gone on the power. So you're really trying to upset the car. So on the whole, this car still has that sporty feel to it.
Nice. Okay.
Right? It has that, I would actually say it has this seriousness about it. It has that seriousness, which will make it a great road car. And I think on the road, you will love how this car feels.
Good.
If it felt serious enough at a place like the BIC, on the road, it will definitely feel sporty.
Right.
And sporty in a way that you can continue to enjoy it every day without it getting in your way of that usability. And I think that has been the special factor of the RS.
Understood.
And like I said for the GTI then as well, right? That the suspension, even on that car, didn't feel like it was unusable for our roads. And that's the thing I really want to experience and investigate. How usable is it on our roads? Not from the drivetrain standpoint, but more from the suspension standpoint.
Right.
Okay.
As a reference point, this is basically the difference between a Creta and a Creta N-Line, where you're saying the suspension has become sportier, but has become so sporty that the car is now unusable or uncomfortable in a way that would get in your way every single day.
And so about the RS itself, the finer details, when you look at it, it looks good. And one of the biggest reasons I think it looks more intense and intent is because the RS gets the suspension is slightly lowered, 15 mm. So it just changes the stance of the car. And then, of course, it has slightly different LED TRLs. It has sportier bumper, tail lamps, all of that. And so but it's the main thing for me is like how it sits. It just sits lower and more serious. And that changes everything around it, makes it feel more... serious.
Ground clearance would be an issue then?
So the ground clearance is 140 or something like that. So it's not wow. But as we are seeing with a lot of these cars, usability can be all right, not necessarily a problem. Something that you'll adapt to and could adapt to, which is what real world scenarios we'll have to see. Just as an example, and we'll come back to this later, probably in QFC, but with the Toyota, the Camry, right? Again, that had that issue of, hey man, the ground clearance looks so poor.
Right.
But when you used it, it
didn't
was
really get in your way.
it was all right. And there were instances where you would have to watch out. But for the most part, it was okay.
Got it.
Right? Not like straight away deal breaker, like, I can't live with this, although it looks like that.
Right.
So I think we are in a similar kind of scenario because while the ground clearance has been lowered because of the suspension tune, the suspension tune has also changed, right? It's a slightly firmer setup.
Yeah.
What about the rest of the car? I think Skoda with the Octavia had anyways made a step up with this generation in terms of the cabin experience, the usability of the cabin, and that continues here as well. What you do see is that this has a blacked out cabin with Alcantara and the special RS seats, which of course looks sporty and feels snug and all of that. And the back seat, as with the Octavia, has always been good-ish, not great. You always feel like the support could be a little bit better, but it's functionally a usable backseat even for adults. It's fine, right? So the same thing carries on even here with the RS. And the strange thing about the RS versus the GTI here is what you see in the cabin, right? Because in UK, the GTI is cheaper than the RS by a couple of £1,000, a little bit more than that. The India spec that we got is not the base spec of the GTI. That we got it with 18-inch wheels, and the RS has 19-inch wheels. And in the cabin, like you'll see differences like the seats in the GTI were fabric. These are again Alcantara. You have powered seats; those were manual.
Correct.
These have massage function and all of that. You have heads-up display, and so basically, this cabin is more premium
More equipment and better equipment.
while being cheaper.
Hmm.
So you'd be wondering how the hell has Skoda managed to make the RS cheaper in India than the GTI, whereas in UK it's the other way around.
Right.
So they're saying it just comes down to the fact that they launched the car after the GST price revisions, and that gave them the advantage, that 8% advantage, that effectively brought them down under the Golf. So that's how it's landed up sitting over there
Got
and
it.
looking like a value pick when you have the GTI to reference it against.
The Skoda Octavia VRS, it's a legendary brand name in India, but today the pricing asks many questions, including within 1 lakh rupees is a Golf GTI and within a few lakh rupees is a BMW on one side and a Camry on the other side. How do you judge whether you should get this car or not? Kartikeya has excellent perspective and answers on Motoring First. If you want to watch that episode, get the app. It's free to download and Motoring First is free to watch.